So, we're walking down the street. You see somebody you don't like, and you run into them. Now, I happen to really dislike the name or so. We decided that we hate each other, we're going to come to a duel. Now, we're not actually here to talk about duels, but I'll just say that there are lots of ways we can go about this. We can duel right there on the street. We can have our seconds arrange for weapons. We can send notes back and forth for months, arranging weapons and times and dates and places and who's going to do it, yada, yada, yada. The duel may or may happen, or may not happen. But in this case, we're going to do all this. Now, the first thing you need to understand when you come into a fight is standing guard. Standing guard is a form of fear. Standing guard is a form of fear. Parrying is a form of fear. Because when you parry, you're trying to defend your life. If you do not, you're not worried about being hit. You wouldn't worry about standing guard or parrying. You just run your opponent and you kill him. Stabby, stabby, stabby. Okay? However, we want to stay alive. The guard says, the first thing that you need to know how to fence is advancing on the opponent, striking with the chest, and recovering in guard out of measure. Sorry. Does anyone know why you stand in guard? Theories? It's not a party. Good. Anybody else? Why do we stand in guard? Pardon me? So you can move.
So I can avoid getting hit.
Yes, exactly. So you can avoid getting hit. Now, Pharaoh says you stand in guard so that you can best defend yourself. Now, on top of that, Don Aaron Harper had a suggestion that we stand in guard in order to limit our opponent's options. In SCA combat, we're able to come on guard, typical SCA guard third. And I will say, look, he's threatening my center mass. So what am I going to do? I will take an offensive position and threaten him. So I'll stand in a broad border. Maybe I'll come off the line and stand in a broad border. Or maybe I'll come in the three, but I'll stand over here. Okay? This is mutual threat. There's no defense here. The first guard that you're going to form is after drawing your sword. It's called Kramer. Really do almost nothing in this guard. You get out of it as fast as you can. Fury masters do show a few plates with this guard, but mostly there, when you get stuck up here, here's how you go. Second guard, you simply roll your hand down so your palm is facing the ground. Third guard, your palm faces to your left. The edge of the sword is facing the ground. In the fourth guard, the palm faces the sky and the edge faces to you. Now, let's talk about distance for a second. There's going to be a whole other section called measure, but right now let's talk about distance. If Renee and I were to draw swords within about, say, 6 to 7 feet of each other, we hit each other pretty much with no problem. He extends. Well, I'm certainly dead. And I extend. Okay, Renee is dead. So when we draw, we want to start out of range. But you want to start way out of your opponent's range. Okay? When you draw your sword, you want to make sure that your body is balanced well. Captain Pharaoh goes on to this long thing. Very complex. Lots of angles. Lots of the shoulder lines up between the feet, and you do this, and the left shoulder goes over the left foot, and the right shoulder biceps, the stance of the feet. Blah. It's excellent theory. Very difficult to read. It's very difficult to understand. Gandhi says, you know what? Stand strong. Put your weight more towards the back. Put your weight more towards the back leg so that if you need to go forward or backwards, you can do so with alacrity and ease. Now, there was one thing I'd like to point out here. A difference in period guard and a difference in modern fencing guard. Modern fencing, by and large, has a 90-degree angle, right? You stand here, you stand centered between your legs, you're able to move pretty easily back and forth up the strip, right? In the period stance, you're actually closer to 120 as opposed to 90. You've been, what I want you to do, y'all can try this, is stand here. I want you to bend your left leg and straighten your right. Now, if your left leg hurts, you need to move your knee. If it's on, if you've still got it 9 degrees, push your back a little bit. You will find the right point for you when your knee and your legs stop hurting. Okay? Now, your weight distribution should be roughly 70-30, 60-40. More on the back leg. Now, I'll show you some reasons specifically for that in a couple minutes. But, now why do we do this? Why do we stand back? Because this is dangerous. This point is dangerous. I want to keep the stuff that's valuable to me, my head, farthest away from his point. So, if I were to stand like this, here, or God forbid, like this, here, his prime target is a foot, 14 inches away. Even if I'm back here, like this, I am probably just on the outside of Renee's lunge range. All right? If he does a gathering step and lunges, he hit me pretty easily. All right? However, if we're standing here and I walk back, what I've now done is created more space between his point and my head. You will see some pictures in Jagani. I think they're up here somewhere, where they're way back. Okay? Capifera, in fact, suggests that there's very little angle here between the vita, the body, and the front leg. Now, once you start looking at Capifera's plates, however, you will notice that there's actually a fair amount of bend. This one here, pairs of Zakunda. They're standing, they're back, but they're not back like this. They're more at a much more comfortable range. So I recommend that if you start taking these stances, you stand what's comfortable for you. The idea that I want you to take away is you take your head away from his point. Now, Faubus arrives at a similar idea, which is you want to reduce the amount of target area to your opponent. So, instead of standing back here, what Faubus suggests is that you also maintain a good stance, that your feet stay well below you. But instead, what he's going to do, he's going to push his hips backwards, he's going to lower his head, and he's going to put his sword way out in front of him, like that. Okay? What this does, besides the silly hat, what this does is it gives my opponent one very small target, the top of my head. The top of my head is behind my sword. My sword is my offense and my defense. And I have everyone here is familiar with kind of the idea of the cone of defense behind the cleans. All right, as I move my sword around further, closer, the cone gets larger and smaller. Here, like this, I am really, really, really low. Now, I happen to suck at this. But, having fought a couple of people who use it, I can tell you, it works really well and it's really frustrating to come back across. Some period masters, in fact, put counter guards and moves specifically for Faubus fighters, so that when their students encountered a Faubus fighter, they were able to know what to do, because his stuff is frequent. Faubus was considered to be a master among masters in his own time. He was a living legend. So, obviously, his stuff worked and worked well. All right, any questions so far? So, we're standing, we're moving our head away from our opponent, and we know how to draw our sword and hold it to some end. Okay? Now, once again, let me move this point again. In an SCA fight, we can stand like this. Or some people stand like this. Their head forward, right? Bad. Remove the head. Let the sword do the work of the defense. Okay? This leg is I give a good 6 or 8 inches for me, for comparing. So if Renee starts disengaged to the outside, I can see it.